And for that convo, we have Matt Snyder tapped in with us this morning. Matt, let's run through if teams should be buyers or sellers as the trade deadline approaches. And I want to start off with the Tigers. Clinging on to relevance in the AL, should they hold on to Skubal or be sellers?
Well, they're right on the fringe of contention right now. Pretty much everybody is in the American League because it's so bad. As long as they stay within 4 or 5 games of a playoff spot, I think you have to keep him and try to go for it because, look, heading into the year, everybody knew he's not signing an extension. He's going to go to free agency. They're likely to lose him. Instead of trading him, they ended up going out and signing Framber Valdez. So it was trying to say to their ball club, hey, we're going to go for it this year. We're going to try to win while we have him. So they're going to try to hold on to him for dear life until they get, let's say, a week until the deadline. But if they fall back to 8 or 9 games, absolutely they will trade him then, because if you think we're not going to make the playoffs, or best case scenario is we get in as the last wild card and get our teeth kicked in the first round, you got to get something back for him. So my expectation is that given the way they've played pretty much since July 9th or 10th last year, when they fell apart and blew a 15.5 game lead to the Guardians in the AL Central, and then this year they haven't been good. My expectation is that they're going to fall out of the race and they will trade Tarik Skubal. Another name to watch there, if you're looking at rotation guys, it's also possible that Casey Mize might become available. So teams looking at starting pitching, talking to the Tigers, it's not just Tarik Skubal who might end up being on the block. You might be able to get Mize in there as well.
How much of a prize would that be for a team out there somewhere in MLB land to get Mize or Skubal? Obviously, Skubal being the Cy Young winner that he is.
I mean, Skubal is a coup. If you're looking to win right now, you're talking about arguably the best pitcher in the world when he's healthy. I mean, we could talk about Jacob Mizorowski in that mix, even though he got shelled yesterday. We could talk about Paul Skeens in that mix, even though it's been rough sledding here for a month or so. But this is one of the very best pitchers in all of the world, and he's left-handed. A lot of teams covet a lefty toward the top of their rotation. Anybody who's in the race right now would love to have Tarik Skubal. And it's interesting. I know that they don't necessarily look like they need starting pitching, given how good they looked in the playoffs last year. But when I say everybody, I absolutely mean everybody, because the Dodgers would even be in that mix. Not necessarily, again, because of a need, but this would be playing keep away from other teams and saying, like, man, we can't handle Skubal being on anybody else's team, so we're going to go out and get him. So I would beware of the Dodgers in that one. But again, everybody will be in the mix. In terms of Casey Mize, we're talking about a mid-rotation type guy who has all-star upside. Was an all-star last year. So, yeah, there are tons of teams out there. Somebody that comes to mind, for example, is the Cubs. They definitely need rotation help. I don't know if Jed Hoyer is going to pony up to pay for a Tarik Skubal, but Casey Mize is someone they would definitely be interested in. Someone like the Braves, I know they would love to have Skubal, but they don't have that great of a farm system. They need starting pitching help for Chris Sale, alongside Chris Sale. Casey Mize would be a good fit there. So there are a lot of teams who would work.
Matt, I'm still just a little bit shook of you saying Dodgers and Tarik
Yeah.
Skubal. Let's not do that. We're going to move on.
It happens every time I bring it up, every time.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't want to have that conversation. That's not where we need to be with things. So let's go to the Mariners instead, who are tied for first in the AL West. They have to be buyers, right?
Absolutely. I mean, you look, they've never been to the World Series. They're the only team that's never been to the World Series. They got to Game 7 of the ALCS last year. You're right there. Disappointing year so far, but the AL West is so bad. There they are right there tied for first place at only 2 games over 500. They have the most talent in the division. So, yes, this is a go all in. This is a win now team. Absolutely. Cal Raleigh learning how to hit again, that would probably help matters a little bit. They'll get Brendan Donovan back from injury, but they still could use some bullpen help, could probably use another bat in there. And hey, as long as Tarik Skubal might be in the mix, they might as well go out and try to get him as well, because it's somewhat similar to how it looks for the Dodgers, except that not as great of a rotation with Seattle. It's even if it looks like they have good rotation depth and a good rotation, it's Tarik Skubal. And if nothing else, you keep him away from everybody else.
Yeah, we continue to find ways and places where Tarik Skubal could end up, because everyone would want him, just like you said. In the lead up to this segment, I mentioned Mike Trout as a potential trade candidate. The Angels are sellers then, right?
Yes. Oh, absolutely. It's one of the few teams that are definitely all the way in the basement enough to justify being a seller right now. Reed Detmers, Jose Soriano, probably a little more realistic for the Angels, but of course Trout's going to feel like the big prize because we all love watching Mike Trout play when we actually get to see him. The people who don't have the baseball package like I do probably never get to see him play because the Angels are never on. He should be back from injury by the All-Star break. He'll play in the All-Star game then, hopefully. That would be his first All-Star game since 2019. But, man, we need more Mike Trout in our lives, so we need him on a playoff team. It's long been a question whether or not Trout would waive his no-trade clause and would go anywhere. But I've got a good fit. We know he's a South Jersey guy. We know he loves Philadelphia. We know he loves the Eagles. The Phillies had Adolis Garcia, right fielder, go down for the season. If the money could work here, if the Angels and Phillies could make the money work, Trout in Philadelphia, playing with Bryce Harper, that'd be all kinds of fun.
As a Braves fan, I don't want to see that. I don't want to have to deal with pitching towards Mike Trout when he comes back in healthy. So we'll just see exactly how that all works out. Meanwhile, we can pivot over to the Blue Jays, who are still trying to find the magic from last season. 5 games under 500 right now, losers of 7 of their last 10, but they're buyers?
Yes, because first of all, the American League is so bad. Just to be in the third wild card spot, all you have to do is hover around 500. So just a hot week gets them right into that mix. Plus, somewhat similar sentiment to what I said about the Mariners. I know the Blue Jays have 2 World Series titles, and they were in the World Series last year. But when you get to Game 7 of the World Series and you're that close, you need to be in go-for-it mode. And the construction of their roster is not really conducive to a great sell-off. So, yes, they need to be buyers, but they do need to play a little bit better. One of my colleagues, Mike Axisa, actually wrote that one of the things that they need to acquire in front of the trade deadline is a friendly witch to take the hex off of Vladimir Guerrero Jr.'s bat so he can start hitting home runs again. That would be helpful. Some other guys could stand to play better as well. I mean, they need Alejandro Kirk to start hitting again. They need more from Dalton Varsho. George Springer has not been near as good as he was, especially in the second half of last year. They need all those guys to play better. But assuming they do remain in position or get in better position to be buyers, starting pitching depth is a big, big thing. And this is where we could throw Casey Mize's name in there if they can't go out and get Tarek Skubal. Bullpen depth, which everybody in on the trade deadline always needs as well.
Let's keep it in the AL East then. Red Sox, are they sellers?
Yeah, they got hot with that sweep over the Yankees, but it looks like everybody's getting their turn at the Yankees right now. And then the Red Sox just got right back to losing. So they're sellers. Aroldis Chapman, still, it looks like the Red Sox sent Aroldis back to his prime with these last 2 years. He's been a major deadline guy in his career. Remember, the Cubs got him in 2016, won the World Series. The Rangers got him in 2023, won the World Series. So he's no stranger to going out and getting a ring after about a half season, not even a half season with a team. So Aroldis absolutely will be a hot name on the trade market. Somebody else to watch, he's having a great year, Sonny Gray. A little bit left on that contract, not a ton. Maybe some teams will, who want to be a little frugal, will need the Red Sox to pick up some of that money. But Sonny Gray is another name to watch there. And, I mentioned teams needing starting pitching depth. If you can't get Tarek Skubal, Sonny Gray is another one of those kind of fallback options along with Casey Mize.
So we continue this in the AL East and look over at the Yankees, who are 4 games back of first right now in the division. We know that they're scuffling and they are injured as well. And I feel that this has to be a key reason for why we're going to say that they are buyers, because you see all the guys who are out right now and you're like, they need to get help. And you figure you need a bat, but you need a pitcher too, because look at this list.
Yes. Yeah, it's a mess right now. They're playing such bad baseball. I know they are seemingly bad every single June. So maybe once they get out of June, now that we're in July, maybe they'll start to pick things up. Trent Grisham is coming back any day now, maybe even today. That might give them a little bit of a boost, but it's not like getting back Aaron Judge or Giancarlo Stanton. So, and they're both going to be out a while. They might need to go. I know Ryan McMahon's on this list. I know they traded for him just last year. They might need a third baseman because McMahon is just not cutting it. Somebody that comes to mind there, I don't know if the Yankees would love the money left on his deal, but Matt Chapman, is an option that could help them. He's great defensively. He still has power. I know he's a right-hander in Yankee Stadium, and you probably would prefer a lefty, but he would be an upgrade over Ryan McMahon. They definitely need relief pitching. Again, it seems like they need relief pitching every single year, and some of their acquisitions didn't work out last year. But something to watch with the Yankees is getting Aaron Judge back when that happens. It's still going to be a while. I know when he first went down with injury, it was kind of jarring because in the press release itself, the Yankees said, we expect him to return this season, and that was it. And it's like, okay, well, that's scary because if you're saying he's going to return this season, that feels like it means like he's barely going to make it back.
Yeah, it's an interesting situation that they find themselves in right now. But like you said, we've made it outside of June, and maybe history can repeat itself and they can start to heat back up. Matt Snyder, thank you so much. We're not done, though. We'll tap back in with you in just a second as we finish and put a bow on the AL East. Those Yankees are 4 games back, but minus 120 to win the division. Rays with the 4-game lead at minus 105. Thanks for trying, Red Sox. We'll see you next season. Matt Snyder still here with us. We did the AL for buyers and sellers as the trade deadline gets us in a month. Now we do the NL, and Matt, I know what my Braves need. We need some pitching. We need better playing. We need to be buyers.
Yes, the Braves are absolutely buyers. I mean, they've been in first place all season, but the Phillies are creeping up on them there. Plus, if you were the Braves right now, you're expecting to turn things around, and you have aspirations at a deep playoff run. And if you're going to have a deep playoff run, you're probably going to run into the Dodgers at some point. And if you're going to run into the Dodgers, you need more starting pitching than just Chris Sale. I love Chris Sale, and he's having a great year, but he can only go once every 5 days. They've had that regression from Bryce Elder, inconsistency from the rest of the rotation. Spencer Strider's hurt, probably out for a while. Spencer Swellenbach's been out for a while, and it might be a long time before he returns. So you're going to need more starting pitching there. And if we go back to last segment, and I mentioned names like Casey Mize or Sonny Gray, maybe even Tarek Skubal if they have enough to get him. Somebody I haven't mentioned yet is Joe Ryan. If the Twins end up being sellers, he's somebody that could move. That would help this rotation. It would give a nice righty-lefty there with Sale and Ryan atop that rotation. So they definitely need starting pitching help. They need the lineup to hit better than it's been hitting during this recent swoon, but you would expect them to hit better. Plus, Ronald Acuna Jr. will be back at some point, hopefully this month, and he's better than he played before he got hurt anyway, so maybe a little bit of spark there to the lineup.
Yeah, come back, be healthy, stay healthy. Let's get some pitchers, and let's do it fast because this losing skid that we are on is not fun at all. It has not been a fun year for the Giants either. They do have some pitchers. They do have some people that might be of interest to teams out there. San Francisco, sellers.
Yes, absolutely sellers. This is a complete mess right now, and I'm sure Buster Posey knows it. It's a lot of his own doing, though. There are some really bad contracts here. I'm sure they would love to get out of Matt Chapman, Willie Adames, maybe even Rafael Devers on those contracts. And it's going to be tough to do it. I mentioned Matt Chapman with the Yankees. Maybe there's a match there in terms of the money. But they might be locked into those guys because they're really, really bad contracts. Instead, the rentals, Robbie Ray, former Cy Young winner, really good pitcher right now, having a pretty good year. That's somebody that could move. Also, he's already been traded multiple times. He's already the first player in baseball history to win a batting title for 3 different teams, and he's right toward the top of the leaderboard in batting average this year. Wouldn't it be something if Luis Arraez got traded and won a batting title with a 4th? Nobody else has done it with more than 2. That would be amazing. So Luis Arraez is definitely one to watch. Something on Arraez that's interesting is he had been one of the worst defensive players in baseball at second base to the point that the Padres had to move him to first base. Something has clicked with the Giants, and he's made adjustments, and he's scoring out as one of the better defenders at second base this season. So teams don't have to be scared away by him defensively anymore. That's something to watch.
So we did a little bit of the NL East, and you mentioned the Phillies during that portion, how they are really on the catch to charge up all the way to the Braves. They are buyers for Philly.
Absolutely. The Phillies are a lot of what they need is just depth. They're a really top-heavy team, and I've often said these last several years, and it holds really, really true this year, that they look like a better playoff team than a regular season team because if you look at that lineup, they're very, very heavily reliant on Kyle Schwarber, Bryce Harper, Brandon Marsh this season, and then you would expect Trey Turner to pick things up. The rest of their lineup's bad. Then you look at the rotation, and you see Zach Wheeler at the top of the rotation, Christopher Sanchez at the top of the rotation, two aces, studs. Jesus Luzardo, pretty good a lot of the time. And then it's a big drop-off. The bullpen, Duran is great at the back end, not as much depth there. I think they could use a big bat, especially since Adolis Garcia went down in right field. Maybe there's a match with Taylor Ward there. I mentioned earlier Mike Trout. I would absolutely love the match for Mike Trout. We just don't know if the Angels want to trade him. We don't know if Trout wants to be traded. But he's someone that really sticks out to me for the Phillies that could work.
We see these NL East standings, Matt, and you see at the bottom the Mets, 15 games back, sitting at 36 and 51. We know all the struggles that they have been through to this point this year. I don't know if producer Telly just likes hearing this news, or what do you want to say about them being a seller?
Yeah, easy seller. It's a complete mess. Freddie Peralta, he's a rental. The Mets went out and got him from the Brewers because he only had 1 year left before free agency. Things haven't quite worked out. Any team looking for starting pitching, and I've named a bunch of them, would absolutely be in on Freddie Peralta. Also, someone to watch. He's hurt right now, but he will be back. There's an option for next season, so he's somewhat a rental, but not all the way there, is Clay Holmes. So Freddie Peralta and Clay Holmes are two guys that could be had from the Mets.
Mets, trying to figure it out. Cubs are in a spot where they are just now 5 games back of the Brewers in the Central. They've been up and down to this point this year. So given what they've shown, are they in the market to get some new starting pitching?
Absolutely. Starting pitching depth is the big thing. Right now, it looks like Ben Brown is having a breakout season. Matthew Boyd just got back from injury. Maybe Justin Steele will return later in the year. Then you've got Shota Imanaga, Jamison Tyone. It looks like they could use a frontline guy. Like I said, I mentioned Skubal for them, but if it's not Skubal, maybe it's a Sonny Gray type. Maybe it's Freddie Peralta in a match with the Brewers. In a match with the Mets, he would be reuniting with Craig Counsell, who was his manager when he came up with the Brewers. Maybe relief pitching depth as well. They've had so many injuries. The up and down is such an understatement. 2 different 10-game winning streaks, a 10-game losing streak. Right now they've won 15 of 19. It's incredible how up and down they are.
Yeah, well, the real Cubs, please stand up because we do not know who that is. We know who the Rockies are, though. Tied for the worst record in the league. What do you even like about this team? Because we know they're going to be sellers. What pieces are attractive from Colorado?
Antonio Senzatella, former starter, was not a very good starter at all. Goes to the bullpen, gets things figured out. He has been great out of the bullpen for the Rockies this season, and so many teams are going to be looking for relief help. After Aroldis Chapman, Senzatella might be the best reliever on the market. So you're talking about the second best reliever out there, the best right-handed reliever. And as we know, most hitters are right-handed, so you get the platoon advantage there. Also, he's under team control until 2029, but Hunter Goodman is having such a great year. They would get a ton back for him. I wonder if anybody would want to knock them over for Hunter Goodman, and the Rockies are still a few years away from contending, so it might make sense. The only thing is, most contenders have a pretty good catcher, so I don't know, but it'll be interesting to see if Goodman is floated.
August 3rd, the trade deadline. Consider this the primer for all the people out there who are buyers and who are sellers in MLB. Matt Snyder, thank you so much. Appreciate it. And we cap this off with the odds to win the NL. And it looks a little bit like this. The Dodgers, shocker, are the favorite, minus 110. And then you get 5-1 money for the Brewers, Braves, plus 550. Phillies not too far behind, just how they are not far behind in those NL East standings.